Things do happen for a reason, and one of the most fascinating cultural phenomenons to me is the Mandela effect. And at the Slam last Saturday, someone brought one up. I heard him mention when the Romans killed Jesus, and I'm like, the Romans didn't kill Jesus. The church killed Jesus. The Romans just washed their hands and said, this is your problem to deal with. But I wrote another poem about another Mandela effect. I think through history there's some confusion between protagonist and antagonist, and since my first published work, I credited Joseph N. Welch for uttering the phrase, "At long last, sir, do you have no sense of decency?" It was only appropriate I wrote a poem called The Truth About Witches. Hit it.
What kind of bag is it?
Whatever you want.
Witches.
Yeah.
The minor key.
Yeah, minor key. Maybe like medieval sounding something. I don't know. Yeah. No magic needed to spell this out. What in the cockamamie hell made the world filled with fear witches? A brand placed on scapegoats. Innocent independence made inviolable by invading ideologies, intractable injustice and intimidation. Fear weaponized to solidify power and control. Breeding cruelty to demonize and victimize and marginalize different opinions. Lies fear the truth, while the truth should have no fear. And the truth is, these were women ignited through church-fed hatred, fear embedded by meaning given to words, labels applied to denigrate diversity and dissidence, black, communist, witch, epithets of animosity, thought control achieved by making words symbolize evil, a mundane magic trick of manipulation, manufacturing manslaughter, bigotry gone medieval. Words indoctrinated towards conceiving hostilities, the ceaseless transgression of not fitting in, towards pariahs who inflicted no harm, the free-spirited embracing the independence of the human spirit. They waged no wars. Most sought to live in balance with the world God made and use God's gifts of nature to cure. What is their crime here? Right and wrong are labels for acts and deeds, not beliefs. And what of the beliefs of the accusers? Wasn't their prophet a healer as well? What would he say about the wicked inquisitors that caused harm? Those who claim to honor the prophet they named their faith after. Let those without sin cast the first stone, were his words. In defense of a woman, no less, who championed the downtrodden and forgave his killers. Something wicked saw a loophole in those teachings. Perplexing pundits of a prophet whose parables did not point towards persecution of practitioners of peace. Picking the path of pushing weaponized ignorance, teaching commoners hysteria. It began as cultural appropriation, theft of rituals and customs, seizing them as their own while Rome's empire fell. Lust for power rushing to fill the vacuum. Misdeeds of manipulative madmen mutilating a martyr's mercy, matriculating through the mountains and marshes of Macedonia's Mediterranean marble. Wanton infamy to conceal history. Assuming control and bringing about the Dark Ages. Preaching propaganda, proliferating peasants' paranoia, to producing proclivities, prompting prosecution of pagan practices. Widespread indoctrination and control. Mental slavery enforced by hypocritical masters. Wrongfully inflicted theological cancerous hatred. The sin of sacrilege. Subverting spirituality, synthesizing sinister secular subjects, swaying suspicion. A sin their prophet would not abide. He may have faced his own death at the hands of the church with compassion and forgiveness, but that same man would not endure the sacrilege of greed for power or money. Witnessing people trying to profit on the practice of faith drove him to wield a whip in the church of Hebrews. And yes, witches are not the only victim in this recurring tragedy of human civilization. Like the story of Frankenstein, the evil was not the misunderstood, manufactured monsters, but those who created the menace in the first place. Woeful indifference towards communities of humanity, like Salem, the American frontier, the concentration camps of Europe, the banks of Gaza, the villains defiling and defaming their own dogma to commit murder, claiming it was all God's will. Lies to disguise the acts of warmongering infernal tyrants creating hell right here on earth. We should reconsider the thoughts evoked when we hear the word witch. Is it truly some evil sorceress furthering the will of the devil, or a peaceful free spirit seeking harmony with nature, defying dogma, and not blindly accepting the abnormality of normalcy? Seems to me the witches have more in common with the Messiah than those that condemned them. They were the prey and not the predator, victims, not the villains. They should be the protagonists of history's tale, martyrs of morality, and these woefully innocent targets of coerced harassment deserve better from this world.
Ow!